Yeah. Chamomile. Won't keep you up.
It's not the caffeine that's keeping me awake. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to dump this on you. You're barely out of hospital.
No. You can stop talking like that. How can I have your back if you don't let me?
Thought I could do this on my own. I lied to you. I haven't been meeting suppliers.
Okay.
I went to a medical clinic in Reefton Lakes and yesterday another clinic.
Why?
To get prescription sleeping tablets. They started asking questions and I panicked and I ran off.
Maybe.
Justin, every time I close my eyes, I'm back in the factory. It terrifies me to go to sleep.
Have you spoken to anyone else about this?
Yeah, I talked to Bree and to Rose a little, but it was all too much. I couldn't be honest with them.
You are not alone. If you can't get to sleep, I'm going to stay awake. We're going to get you through this. I promise you that.
We are Si and Sophie. This is Coastal News, a home and away podcast, your weekly episode companion podcast for your favourite Aussie soap.
Coffee is never free.
Unless you've got a card, like John.
Well,
or not like John.
all good things come to an end. How are you? You okay?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
No, I'm not too shabby. It's podcast day, Friday.
Yay! Happy podcast
Yes,
day.
Yes, we are in February. You'll be pleased to know.
Finally.
Yes, listeners will be happy. We can start going on about it.
Yeah,
Episode
it's a long Feb though, isn't it? This time around, we've got a leap year, haven't we?
Oh, that extra day.
Yeah, 29 days of February this year, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's in her 40s, and that's her birthday.
Is it me?
No. Whose birthday is on the 29th of February.
Oh.
And
so really, she's only like 5 or something, because she's only had like 5 birthdays ever.
We celebrated a couple of years back her becoming a teenager.
Oh. That's cute.
Reserved for special kind of people. Those.
Oh, it'd be such a weird birthday to have, wouldn't it? It would be super weird.
Wouldn't like it, but there we go. There we go. Because it's all about me on my birthday, and I don't want that day not to be there. Right,
cancelled.
Number 6, Sophie. What's your associate? If I say to you 6, what comes to mind?
I don't know. I probably shouldn't say. Number 6. I can't think of anything appropriate to say.
Say it anyway.
No. Pass. Can I pass?
Well, not really. You've ruined me.
Okay. Let me think of something then. 6 wives of Henry VIII. There we go.
Oh, that's a good one, but it's not quite right.
Oh.
It's 6 weeks until our meet up.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I'm not ready.
Measly weeks.
Is that it? I thought it was like 10.
No, 6. It is. We're on the home run now. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, we are having a meet-up, sold out. You can't now book. In March. In March, you can't say we didn't tell you about it. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, we've been talking about it for ages. Yeah.
We're really excited. We've got lots planned. So it's going to be good, and with lots of work on it this week, and it's going to be good. So with 6 weeks to go, we can't wait. We'll do something about it. We'll work out what we're going to do.
Sweaty hands. I thought it was like 10 weeks. I thought we had longer. Okay, are we ready? We're ready, aren't we? I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got things to do, but we know what we need to do, don't we?
Yes.
Also, congratulations, Fani.
Oh, Fani, yes, well done.
Yes. Well done. You are the winner, which was randomly selected. The proof is on the
independently jurisdicted. No, that's not the word. Verified.
Adjudicated.
Adjudicated. That's the one. Yeah. Yes.
And you've won yourself your very own Coastal News mug, which I must say have become a bit of a thing, a bit of a legend. We've got one. There's a few others dotted out there from our previous giveaways. It's on its way to you. So enjoy the new design as well. Very gel.
Yeah, we want one of those, don't we? On
the
Christmas card, on the Christmas list.
We do, yeah. We will be doing more at some point, but that was to celebrate the start of the new year and the new season on the podcast. Well done. You have to be in it to win it. Make sure you're following us on all our social media channels for future ones, because there'll be others. We do them quite regularly. At Coastal News Pod on most places. Right. Do you want your headlines?
I do.
Tane and Flick begin to spiral as he starts sleeping with other women. Mac collapses at work under the stress of her friend's relationship breakdown. Justin uncovers that Leah has been keeping her sleepless nights from him. And dinner at the in-laws has a surprisingly positive ending.
Please take the time to like, subscribe, and review Coastal News wherever you source your podcasts, and ensure you never miss an episode.
Right, lyric in a min. It should be very easy this week.
I know, there wasn't much, was there really? Yeah.
No, I've spent some time this afternoon beefing it out. So
okay, I'm excited now. I'm excited for the beefed up lyric.
Oh no, okay, now I've really bigged it up. But I definitely thought I need some more seconds. What can I do? So are you ready?
You could have done it in a song. You could have just sang it to me, Lyric in a minute, 2 lyrics. There you go. Next week.
No, you're okay.
Okay, fair enough.
You're okay.
I have a stopwatch, so whenever you're ready, you would what?
2, 1. Right, Kirby has to start writing Lyric's sophomore album this week on her own, because the rest of Lyric are off somewhere being Lyric. Kirby seems to be avoiding writing songs with Theo as well, and that's because they've not written together since that old awkward split. Remember that? But after a bout of writer's block, she plucks up the courages and asks him anyway. He obliges because it gets him out of wedding prep for his uncle and auntie. Great. Everyone's a winner, or so we thought. And was that all the drama, I hear you ask? Who knows? Who blooming knows? But when he starts using an online thesaurus for writing inspiration, she thinks this is a bad idea and bolts. Lyric should be from the heart, Theo. It's the name of the band, man. Come on. Upon questioning the next day, she says, we're not really gelling and the writing's not going well. So after that, though, she receives $8,000 in royalties from the sale of a song on a previous record label, which she was signed to for about as long as this lyric in a minute lasts. And they give the whole writing another go, just as my eyes glaze over. And that's Lyric in a Minute.
Well done. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the recap. More than I enjoyed actually watching it.
Yeah. I must say, I enjoyed reliving it through my own gaze. Right.
Yes.
Tane is getting stuck into work this week. You'll know the big breakup that everyone is talking about. Literally, everywhere you look, this is all everyone's talking about. And he's getting stuck into those classes. He's not interested in chit-chat with Marley when he tries it. Poor old Marley's trying to stay out of this whole thing, isn't he? But he's getting embroiled in this whole breakup, as is half the bay. And when he goes home, Mac's there waiting for him with that wedding ring that Flick left, you'll remember. A sign of hope. And she tries to give it to him, but he says, "Nah, I'm good." Next morning, while he's getting dressed down with all the rules of the house rules for living with Mac and Marley, she's texting him, and he says, "I'm going to block a number. I don't want to speak to her. I'm cutting off all contact." Blocks his wife's number. We'll come on to that in a moment. Mac does try and say, "Look, you need to speak to him. Take a breather, take some time, but you need to speak to Felicity. You need to have this conversation." You and I were imploring it on last week. We're saying we need a conversation next week. And I'm blooming fuming we've still not had it another week down the line. Now, too drastic. But she attempts then to give him the ring back and says, this is, I told Flick I'd give it to you. And he, she sees it as this sign. I saw a sign. Da, 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 da. And he says, "No, how's about this for a sign?" and throws it in the dustbin. So, thoughts, Sophie. We're another week down the line. Tane's not having a bar of it. Where we're up to here, Felicity's not back in town yet. She does return later in the week, but just up to this point that we've recapped so far, I'm getting increasingly frustrated with Tane at this point. I understand he's hurt.
Yeah.
And he's been lied to, but he's failing to see things from his wife's perspective, or he's not even open to thinking about that. Do you know what I mean? Am I too premature in thinking that of him?
I think he needs some time away to process it, and I think what he isn't doing is he isn't thinking about it. He's just running away and trying to busy his day and trying to put his head in the sand and pretend it's over and it didn't happen and I'm fine and I'm just gonna get on with it like this marriage never happened, like this relationship never happened. And I'm like, you can't deal with it like that. What he actually needs to do is probably similar to what Flick did. When she got herself away, I mean, I think she did that for attention, but that's another story. But I think he should have done something similar. He should have took himself off, cleared his head for a couple of days, actually sat down and thought about it, rather than he's just trying to ignore what happened and just get on with his life as if Felicity doesn't exist, as if their marriage never happened. It's not going to work.
Well, it clearly doesn't. You're right. He's getting on with work. He's going to work, and everybody's asking him, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And he reacts to it. He flips, doesn't he? And he starts screaming at the surf club. If anyone else wants to know, my wife has left. And you're just like, this isn't the right response. You shouldn't be doing this.
No.
I think you're right. I agree with you. He should have perhaps taken himself off to travel dodge or something.
Yeah, he hasn't got any friends. This is what it's become really obvious this week, is that he hasn't got anybody to talk to that isn't Flick's family or Flick's business partner or Flick's brother, or you know what I mean, or Flick's best friend. He hasn't got any friends of his own. He hasn't got anybody that's not on, in Flick's corner somehow, and then obviously they don't want to get involved. He needs someone to go and talk to. Like Flick's got Eden and Cash and Mac. Well, she had Mac. She's got people to talk to about it who get her. I don't think he has. He's got people to talk to, but they're also in Flick's corner, and I don't feel like that's very impartial for him.
Yeah, because the only thing who's coming to mind, the only person I'm thinking is Cash. And
but he can't. His loyalties are with Flick, and we've seen that. As much as she messes up, Cash just follows around and picks up the mess after her, doesn't he?
She messed up, he'll mop up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's become really obvious that Tane is on his own in that sense. He's got no family in the Bay now. They're all either dead or abroad or wherever. So it's just become really obvious. But I think what he needed to do, and I think Marley tried, but what he needed to do was just get out of the Bay, because that's the problem with the Bay. It's so small. Everyone's in each other's pockets. Everybody knows everyone else's business. He's trying to ignore it, and obviously everybody, they're trying to do the right thing and make sure he's okay, be concerned, ask him questions, but actually it's just making it worse for him, because he just wants to bury his head in the sand. And people constantly going after your business, it's just going to wind him up, isn't it?
Well, he does. It pushes the buttons, doesn't it? And he snaps. Harper tries it as well, and he snaps at her.
Yeah, but she's a stranger, isn't she? Really?
Well, I think she's got ulterior motives, me.
Oh, she definitely fancies him.
Well, there's been a couple of comments about, with her and Dana ogling at him, from the lines of one of his beach classes. She's joined these classes And I'm like, that's sus as it is. And Tane's because he's, Marley does speak, attempt, like you say, attempt to speak to him. And he's saying, I need to get her out my system. And it's like, oh, God. And he starts sleeping with anything that walks past. And I think that, that girl he's took home, she's someone from the class, isn't she? She's from one of his classes. And he's swapping numbers with her. Or is that a different girl? They definitely look.
There's two. There was one he met in the bar. That was the one he took home, and Marley cooked breakfast for.
Right.
And then there's the second one that she asks him out on after the personal training session or whatever he does. They're two different women. One's got a fringe, one hasn't got a fringe. But apart from that, they look quite
the same.
They look quite similar.
I thought it was the same one.
And he still hasn't phoned me back.
Rude.
I know.
You're not exercising enough.
I know at all. Yes.
So I'm thinking Harper's loitering around Tane.
Yeah.
Like she's ready to pounce, and I don't like that.
She was doing that before, though. Do you remember when Tane, weeks ago, when Tane was all depressed because of the whole baby, the initial baby conversation that Flick and Tane were having? And she was saying, oh, no, I don't want kids. And he was going, oh, I'm going to have to get used to it because that's what I saw in my future. But, now I'm going to have to get used to the fact that I'm never going to have kids. And he was being a bit sulky. And there was that night when he was in the bar and he was drinking beer with Cash. Cash was suspended. And Harper was there because she was jobless. And, they made a bit of a joke of it, like they were losers having a beer together. And I felt then that Harper was already taking too much of an interest in for someone that she didn't know that was married, because she even said stuff to Flick like, what's wrong with your husband back then? And I thought, you've got nothing to do with whatever's going on with him. It's not your business. So this has been brewing for a while, her keeping an eye on him, I think. She's not keeping an eye on Flick, is she? She's keeping an eye on Tane.
That's true. Yeah, she's not sort of turning up at Flick's door, is she, and checking in on her. Are they lining them up?
And she knows what Flick went through as well, because Flick, when she went through the sexual assault ordeal, remember Cash got Harper to talk to her about going to see the guy that was in prison. Like what they called it now.
Yeah. Do you know, in this respect, I do feel for Felicity here. Because it just trying to put myself in her shoes.
Yeah.
You would feel like the world's against you. Like he seems to have, even though we've talked about him having no friendships, he seems to be gathering support from unlikely places that she's in. And the few people she has got, people like Mac, for example, she feels like he's picked a side and, she feels like she's been betrayed.
Yeah.
I can understand that feeling of no one's there for me, but I don't think she's articulating her reasons very well by acting out, saying, oh, you picked a side. Oh, you've chosen him over me. You're my friend and you're supposed to be mine. Like, she really needs to communicate better.
Yes.
Why they've ended up in this situation.
I mean, it's very easy to pick Tane's side, because from an out, if you don't know what was going on in their relationship, you don't know the pressure that she was under and why she lied and all that stuff. Looking at it from the outside, which is what everyone is doing, clearly, she's walking into Salt and having a meltdown in her business. She's telling people they can have free meals. She's yelling at Xander, who's got absolutely nothing to do with any of this. She's just acting like a spoilt brat and a cow. Yeah. And then the whole, I'm going away for a couple of days, I'm going to take money out the till drama. Like, it's really hard to feel sorry for somebody that's acting like that. And then you see Tane just looking like a puppy that's been kicked down the stairs, and you feel more sorry for him, don't you? Naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can understand why he's picking up that support. And at the end of the day, Mac's trying to be Switzerland. Do you know what I mean? She's trying to be everything for everyone. Because, and Flick does come back from this sabbatical. She's back in the Bay later in the week, and she's got lots of unanswered texts on her phone. First thing out of her mouth to Cash is, have you seen him? Where is he? The middle of the night, she goes rat-a-tatting on Mac's door, trying to get in to speak to him.
And again, doesn't make you feel sorry for her, does it? If you're having to answer the door and all she's going is, oh, did I wake you up? Oh, go back to bed. All I want to do is go and talk to Tane. she comes across as so self-involved.
Yeah, well, because as if Mac's going to say, yeah, knock yourself out, I'll go back to Bobo's.
Yeah, oh, don't worry. I didn't, I've only got to go out for work in a few hours.
Yeah,
Come round whenever
yeah.
you like at 3 a.m. banging on the door.
Yeah, which is obviously going to turn into an argument that I'm going to be dealing with,
Yes, yeah. I think Mac
yeah.
was really good there. Mac is showing herself as a reasonable, patient, genuinely kind, individual and adult. When you look at how she acts and how Flick acts, it's just polar opposites, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
The first thing she said was, "Are you okay? Do you know what time it is? Are you okay?" She didn't go, "What the bloody hell?" I'm not being funny, but if Flick came to my door at 2 a.m. banging on the door and asking to come in, I'd be like, "What the blooming heck are you doing here at this time of the day?"
You got rocks in your head, rack
yeah,
off.
go home. But her first question was like, "Are you okay?" And I thought, well, there we go. That's the difference between the two of them. And then Flick had the audacity to say, when she let, because Max talked around and said, no, you don't come in. This is just going to make it worse. It's not going to make things better. He's blocked your number. You can't come in. He doesn't want to talk to you. Take the hint. But she said it much nicer than that. She was really, really kind, I think. But then Flick said she was driving home thinking about what Mac did, and she's going, she's not my friend. I wouldn't have done that in that situation. And I thought, no, she was your friend. That's the best friend you're ever going to get, and you don't deserve her.
Oh dear. Yeah, I hate this narrative that Flick has. Because, like you say, she gets back and she says, "Oh, it should have been a friend," and what kind of friend is that? Later on, when she confronts her, because she finds out quite quickly, overhearing Cash say, "Oh, he's sleeping around now. He's moving on." It was straight to Salt to blame Mac for it. You've moved him to your house, and now look what's happening. This is your doing. She feels proper hard done by, doesn't she?
Yes.
Calling Mac a snake.
But she's not telling anybody why she feels hard done by.
No.
If she says, look, I'm really, really sore about this because this is why I feel like I'm the victim. And if she said, I felt this pressure, I felt like I had to lie, I felt like I was going to lose my husband if I didn't. If she tried to open up and tell people how she felt and why she did it, I think they'd have more of a sympathetic reaction, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, just even more of an understanding of what. Because Alf even bumped into her in the week, and he's not. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your marriage breaking up," and she's like, "It's not broken up." And you're thinking, Alf doesn't even know what's going on. Nobody, everyone's a bit like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
I don't know how else heard about it.
Somebody told him. Was it Rue or?
Oh, did we see that? Did I just miss it?
Yeah, somebody told him in the diner. Can't remember who it was now.
Not like him to get involved in idle gossip in the car park, is it?
No, right? But everyone's talking about this, though, aren't they? Everybody's got an opinion, and everyone's going, "Oh, did you hear about these two?" And I kind of feel for the situation, but then I'm like, well, Tane, he's not really making a secret of what he's doing. He brought that girl back to Mac's house. He's just moved in with Mac temporarily, and then he's bringing randoms home from a nightclub.
Not cool. Yeah, I would be fucking fuming.
I'd be like, who is she? What's she doing in my house? And again, Mac is very adult, very kind, very understanding about the whole thing, and just just doesn't even bat an eye. They're just like, oh, just let him get on with it. I'd be fuming.
I actually think he needs a kick up the arse at this point.
Yeah.
I think Mac needs to turn around and say, listen, I'm doing you a massive favour here. Like, I've let you stay here. I'm supporting you. I'm your friend. I don't want to see you hurting, but you're taking liberties on me and everybody around you. And secondly, I think she needs to get this. I keep talking about this conversation that needs to happen between Felicity and Tane. I think she needs to try harder to say, sort your crap out, go and speak to her, because this stalemate can't go on any longer. Now that conversation needs to be grown up. It needs to be calm.
Yes.
It needs to be a real adult, just like the one at the beginning where everyone knew the situation with children. And we've gone over and over and over loads of times now for hours about that conversation and how he's changed his mind and all the rest of it. And she was quite clear and all the rest of it. That needs to happen again, and it needs to be this is us parting ways if that is non-negotiable at this stage. In an adult, this is best for both of us type tone.
Yes.
I think Tane is prolonging this. She's trying to talk to him.
Self-sabotaging. I think he's just self-sabotaging. I was feeling a little bit of empathy towards them when, because it's not nice to be the gossip of the Bay, and they are the gossip of the Bay at the moment. Like Marley's talking about them, Xander's talking about them, Xander's trying to find out information from Mac. Everyone's got, and Rue, God, she's meddling, isn't she? Wants to know what's going on. Everyone's got like this interest in Harper, everybody. And I kind of felt sorry for them because I thought Tane doesn't want any of this attention, but he's not helped himself because he's made it so obvious to his housemates that he's shagging about. So of course that's going to get out. It's only natural that, and I think he does want it to get out. I think he's doing that. I almost feel like he's self-sabotaging to the point where he's like, they've had problems before, and he's always gone back to her. Like she moved out and went to the caravan park, threw his engagement ring in his face. And I thought that was the end for them then, but it wasn't. And they got back to each other again. And I think what he's doing this time is he's going, I can't let myself go back. If I talk to her, she'll talk me round and she'll make me go back there, and I'll end up back with her, but still not getting what I want. I still won't have any children, or have a wife that's lying to me saying I do want children, but actually I'm taking the pill behind my back. So I think he's thinking, I can't go back to her. I can't let her talk to me. I've got to just draw a line under the sand. And the easiest way for him to do it is to just shag around, basically, so that when she finds out, which she inevitably will, that will be the end. And there's no coming back from that. She's not going to take him back. That's what he's probably thinking. She's not going to be able to worm her way back into his good books.
That's not an angle I had considered. You texted me that theory last night, and I thought, I thought about that. Because it's almost like I'm weak for her. She's my Achilles heel. Like I'll end up agreeing to it for her. I can't trust myself to go there because I'll end up succumbing to it and not be happy ultimately.
We've seen it before, haven't we? We've seen them, like, whenever there's been a compromise. I think in the past he has compromised more than she has. And this isn't a compromise situation. Having a kid is not a compromise situation. I think he's slowly coming to the realization of that she doesn't want them and he does, and there's no two ways about that. Because I think what he's thinking is, if we get back together, I'm going to be the one that compromises. I'm going to be the one that doesn't get the family. I'm going to go back to her. I'm going to be miserable. So what I need to do is just blow this to smithereens. And the easiest way to do that is to cheat on her, isn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying I think that he's just self-sabotaging so that the relationship is it's dead in the water.
Yeah. There's no going back. Now it does take a bit of a serious turn. Felicity's marched down to Salt. She's screaming at Mackenzie because of this whole, she's found out they're sleeping around. Calls her a snake. Mac tries to turf her out. I've had enough of you. Get out. I need you to leave. She's refusing. She's screaming in her face. And Mac then clutches her chest, falls to the floor in some big collapse. And you're just like, holy moly. And then what ensues is just this insane panic. We're calling Triple O. We've got Xander, thank God, a paramedic come barman, on hand to rip open the shirt.
And Cash has obviously got training as well. It's actually a very fortunate place. I mean, if she dropped down like that in her farmhouse with nobody there, or maybe even with just Marley there, I don't think she would have survived.
2 buses a day. And there is a scene which I thought, and I've posted it, I felt it was a very important scene because it's not something I've actually seen much of on TV.
Only in medical dramas, I think.
Yeah.
Which
I try and avoid because I feel queasy. So he says, go and get the defib. And being a restaurant above a public life-saving club, of course there's a defib, right? I mean, this day and age, that's a given, but that's only something that's been the conversation for the last sort of, I'd say, decade. Before that, you'd never even talk about one, let alone
No.
you see them everywhere now.
Yeah.
Like,
there's one in the phone box in my village.
yeah, see what I mean? You see them everywhere.
Yeah.
So he runs downstairs in the surf club, gets the defib, and then what I thought was the important bit was we actually see them using it. Like we see the full scene, we see them trying to resuscitate Mac, using the defib. How to use a defib, I think it's really important that we all really try and educate ourselves on that for these types of situations. And I felt like this scene was really necessary, and a good little lesson. I don't know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it reminded me of a course I went on years ago at work, a health and safety course, where you had to do like a 2 days of training, and then you got a certificate at the end. But you had to do like the resuscitation thing on the, the Resusciani doll that you get.
Oh yeah.
And you had to do that in front of someone, and then like back then you had to do the breaths as well. So you had to do like the pumping of the chest and then do the breaths. I don't think they do breaths anymore. I think they teach your course without it now because of COVID and everything else. And
yeah.
I don't think you're allowed to do the breathy bit. But yeah, it reminded me of that, and I thought, I don't know. I've had that training, and even now, I think I panic if I was in that real situation. Because it's a really scary situation. I can't imagine that, especially if it's someone that you know and a friend or or a work colleague or whatever, which is what she is to some of the people that are in that scene. It must be really, really scary to have to actually act in that situation. And it's one of those where some people will freeze, which is I think is what Flick was doing, and some people will just naturally just know what to do and just kick into fight or flight mode, which I think is what Cash and Xander were doing. They knew what to do. They're quick reacting. They saved her life.
Yeah.
They saved her life because they knew what to do and they didn't dilly-dally. They just got on with it.
Yeah.
So you just don't know how you're going to react in that situation. It's quite scary.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I feel the exact same thing. Like if heaven forbid, you mean you snookered if something happens when you're with me. Because I'll tell you now, I'll need an ambulance before you would, honestly. And I don't mean to make like, but if Xander screamed to me, go and get the defib, I'd be thinking, oh, what do we do with this?
Yeah.
So I've come away from this episode thinking I really need to get up on these defibs. I know it's been a conversation in society, wider conversation, not just here, but obviously in Australia and all around the world about them. And had there not been one at the surf club today, Mac would have been dead.
Oh yeah. Oh,
so,
I think it did help. I mean, you can obviously resuscitate someone by doing it the CPR manually, but I think with the defib, it makes it more likely that you're going to start the heart again, isn't it? Because it's a shock to the body, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you do anything after this podcast, look up and research. But so she's rushed to hospital eventually. She's at Northern Districts, isn't she? And they have managed to save her. She has got cardiac rhythm again. And Bree and Dana on her first day, like a rabbit in headlights. And so obviously some of the people there, Flick, probably riddled with guilt at this point, has followed her to the hospital and is like, did I do this to Cash? Cash, by the way, has missed his appointment hearing to get his job back because this event happened. So there are ramifications all around for Flick's behaviour here.
He got called to salt, didn't he? Because he wasn't even in the restaurant when he got the phone call from Xander. Because not being funny, moment of the week for me was Xander slinking off into the cupboard in salt after.
When it kicks off.
Flick was like basically like, "Shut up, Xander," and then Xander just shut the door on himself as he went into the cupboard and he phoned Cash, didn't he? And just like, SOS, Cash, come down to salt. So Cash was out the door with Rose, ready to go off to his meeting. And obviously she's done this big full attention-seeking, display, outburst, meltdown, whatever you want to call it, in Salt. And he's had to go divert. And imagine Abbey Creek is the opposite way to Salt, which is where he's supposed to be going.
Yeah, probably. Well, he misses the hearing entirely, which for
Yeah.
some reason puts Rose in a mood.
Yeah.
Anyway,
don't know
I
what
didn't
that's
get.
about.
Is it just me? I did not get that. Like,
You
why are
think
you in a
Rose
mood about it?
you think everyone would be more concerned about Mac nearly being dead than this
Mm-mm.
is what's annoyed me about this is like everyone keeps getting beef with things that are not it's like, okay, we all need to step back. Someone nearly died today. That's the
Yeah,
important thing.
yeah, yeah. Now at the hospital, we've got Cash and Flick there. Marley soon informs Tane of what's happened. So Tane and Mac rush up to the hospital. The second that guy steps out the lift, Felicity jumps out of her seat. She's over to him. They're starting, aren't they, in the
Yeah.
hospital? You know, where have you been? Why aren't you answering my calls? Why have you blocked my number? I mean, Brie has to tell him off for
Yeah.
screaming. Someone's had a heart attack here because of you.
Yeah.
Well,
And now you're kicking
we're
off again.
assuming right now because of you. And you're kicking off on the other side of the blooming curtain.
I actually texted you about this, didn't I? Because I was like, I am absolutely flipping fuming because she can't even put it down for 1 minute and just be there for Mac. This is what I was meaning about how I was getting annoyed. Nothing else is important right now. What's important is making sure that Mac gets through this and doesn't die. Everything else that's going on, yes, I know it's ripped her life apart and she needs to talk to Tani and everything else. I get it. But your best friend just nearly died right in front of you. And now you're too busy worrying about who your husband's been having having sex with. I'm sorry. There's a time and a place and it's not right now, Flick.
I know. I was really disappointed in her. Really, really.
Really? So, I mean, I know we say this, don't we? We know what Flick is like. But even, I mean, I'm in her corner and I love her as a character. I accept that she's selfish. It's part of who she is. But this was, for me, was too much this
Yeah,
week.
yeah, and she's not. Well, it's early. It's only just happened. We'll find out next week, I'm assuming. But there's no. I'm saying she's riddled with guilt, but I'm not seeing it yet. You know,
No,
I'm
there
not.
was that one line where she said, "Oh, is this because of me?" But I don't think it was guilt. I think it was Felicity, the victim again, making it about herself. Like feel sorry for me because he was like, "What happened? Were you arguing?" And she was like, "No, we were just having a discussion." Like she lied. No, we were just talking. And then she was like, "Yeah, okay." I was shouting at her. Like,
Well,
then
she
she's
asked.
getting annoyed at Cash for having, for
Yeah,
insinuating that
I
she was
know.
shouting. And I was just like,
Well,
"No, I'm done. I'm
she
done."
asked Xander, didn't she, as well? Like, was it me? And Xander was just like, I don't know, and
Yeah.
walks off, and you're just like, someone give her a slap.
Well, eventually Cash does give her a few home truths, doesn't he?
Yeah. Whether she listens though, like you say, these self-centered types.
Yeah.
Whether they listen. So where we're at, we've got Mac in hospital. Tenacity are still in a million pieces all over the floor. I feel like I'm getting a bit peeved with Tane. I think he's dragging this on now, to an extent where I think he might be leading her on. She's going to stay in this hopeful place for as long as she's not been told. I know in his eyes, he's already said the words, "I'm done," but she wasn't in that place yet to walk away. When he said it.
I think he made it quite clear at the hospital, though. He was like, "I'm not talking to you about this," and just walked off. I think.
Yeah, but it's not a
don't
conversation.
It's not, but I don't think he's ready for it. I don't. I'm not defending what he's done. I'm not defending him sleeping around. I'm not defending him putting pressure on her. I'm not defending any of that. But I can understand that he doesn't want to talk to her right now. He doesn't want her to be, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and it's because of you, and it's because of this and because of that, and because we've heard it all before. And I don't think he wants to hear it. I don't think he's in the right headspace for it, and he just wants her to leave him alone. He needs to, but he's not. The thing that I'm annoyed with him about is if he wants this space from her, which he clearly does, he doesn't want to talk to her. He wants to clear his head and find out how he feels. But he's not doing that. So all he's doing is getting the space from her. What he's not doing is he's not using it. He's not, like I say, I think he needs to go away and figure out what he wants to do And then that will help him get to a point where he's now ready to have that conversation, and he's ready to go to her, right, okay, I'll talk to you now. We can be civil. We can talk it through. I'll hear your side of the story. You can hear my side of the story. And then we'll decide what to do, whatever the outcome is. I just think he's avoiding the bit in the middle that he needs to go away and think. And
yeah, so you think he needs to go away and think first. I think he needs to put his big boy pants on and face it. Let's see what happens in first look tomorrow. See which one of us is right.
Probably neither of us know.
I know.
Oh, dear.
Shall we move on? Because they've dragged us down. Everyone, that's a really big story. Unless you've got anything else you want to comment on before we do.
I'm not hating the storyline simply because Tane keeps taking it out on the boxing punching bag thing in the gym, and I'm into that.
So,
it's got
I mean, I'm not hating it either. That's a good reason. I'll add that to my list. And also, like, we're all talking. So,
yes,
and I find it fascinating. Massive kickoff on Digital Spy earlier in the week. Like, great.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's got us all talking, and that's what these storylines are supposed to do, isn't it? So
yes, yeah.
Right. Should we talk about percussion at dinner?
Yes. Yep.
Have you ever had a quartet over your
in my house? in my complex mansion? No. Funnily enough, but his parents are meant to be renowned musicians, aren't they? They're meant to be world renowned composers or instrumentalists or whatever they are. I haven't got a clue. I can't remember what he told us ages ago what they were. So I can't work out whether these violinists or whatever they were friends or whether they were hired, because they could well have just friends that are musicians and would come and do a little.
Or is it just a Tuesday?
Exactly. For these people, it could just be a regular.
It seemed a little over the top, didn't it? I mean, I know it's an anniversary, so they probably did it as a special sort of thing.
I was thinking this, but I looked around the room. I think I tweeted this. Like their 35th anniversary, there was 4 musicians, I think, maybe 3. I don't know, 3 or 4 people playing violin, etc. Then there was there was Remy and Brie, but apart from that, there was like 3 or 4 other people in that room. It wasn't much of a party. There were more musicians and serving staff, people with trays of canapes and trays of drinks. There were more people that were being paid to be there than there were party guests. That's what I didn't understand about this. It was really weird. Like they've all that money and they've got no friends.
Funny. Well, do you know what? They do say it's lonely at the top. Don't they?
Well, I'd like to find out. Someone give me some money and I'll report back.
That's your coastal news mission. Find out if it's lonely at the top with all the money.
I always think that, when people say like money doesn't make you happy, I'm like, give me some and I'll tell you how I feel.
What is it? Yeah, but I can buy a boat and call it happiness or something.
I just think, well, let me find out myself. Give me a load of money and then I will do the science and work out if it makes me happy or not. And then I'll report back to you.
Happy to find out. Yeah.
I'm happy to do the research,
Yeah. Certainly wouldn't need to worry about the minimum payment on the credit card.
Exactly.
So, this is dinner, this is violin. It's way over the top, isn't it? And you remember there was this awkward moment when they were talking about how they met, and it turned out Remy hadn't told them about the affair. Jacob abused, bury him.
Husband didn't even know that. They didn't even know that she was married. Never mind that she was a murderer.
Yeah, he's told them nothing. He's a lone ranger, is Remy. He's not in touch very often, is he? Which is a shame considering filthy rich they seem to be. And he's been eating beans out of a can and touring in the back of a van and busking, like
touring in the back of a van that Justin paid for.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's Summer Bay Auto sponsored.
And he bought the van, didn't he? He bought it, and then he slapped all the advertising on the side, and he convinced Leah it was a good marketing ploy.
Parked on the drive because it was split up. So he says, look, he says to Brie, doesn't he? I'm not ashamed of our relationship. I'll find the right time to tell them. So the next morning in the garden patio breakfast spread, They go through it all, don't they? And, you know, you asked about how my husband died. Well, he died because of me and a shovel.
It was a bit
And
vague, wasn't it? Because of me could mean anything, couldn't it?
we
Like
have to infer
he could have
that
committed suicide because she left him, or he found out that she was having an affair with Remy. It's very vague.
yeah, we do have to infer that she filled her in offline, off
Yeah.
screen. But then she just thought, oh, that must have been really hard for you. All is well. Let's have a chat. Let's go shopping. She just told you she killed a man.
They were very, very cool about it, weren't they? Like she was like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, it must have been a really tough situation. You're obviously a very strong, very intelligent woman. I was like, yeah, she is, but you're getting all of that from one line. It's just
That makes me wonder what they're
why?
capable of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. But why are we here again? Why are we talking about Jacob again? It's been a year since that whole
You said
storyline.
this last week, didn't you? And
Yeah.
I must say it's played on my mind since, because you know, you've got into my head there, Sophie.
Because a couple of things have happened this week that made me think, is this foreshadowing a Brie and Remy breakup?
Oh, we're breaking everybody up, do you think?
Well, there's
What's
a couple
that
of
got to do with Jane?
Well, obviously this has caused a bit of a she said to Remy, didn't she? Why didn't you tell them? You know, I've done a load of work on myself and I've got past this and I'm ready to talk about it. And you seem like you don't want to talk about it, you're not acknowledging it, and you seem ashamed, etc., of who I am. And so that rang alarm bells in my head, because I was like, okay, they're not all as happy as I thought they were. Then there was a scene where when Mac was in hospital, she looked at her phone and Remy was phoning her, and she just put her phone back in her pocket and ignored him. And I was like, okay, so there's still something going on here. And now they've introduced this character that we'll talk about later, I'm assuming, this new doctor.
Oh, we should have already talked about him. Yeah, leave out. You can talk about him.
I can talk
Sorry,
about him.
He was supposed to be on the end of
That's okay. I might as well bring him up now.
Back at the hospital. Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know anything, but we've been speculating for a while on the pod, haven't we, about Remy and Brie, whether they are long-term couple goals, whether it was all just like this hot, steamy affair, and maybe now that the dust has settled and they've got into a bit
all
more
gone
of
a bit missionary.
it's all gone a bit missionary, and maybe they're not as compatible as what they thought they were or what they thought they were going to be. You know, he's very different to her, isn't he? She's very driven and she's very...
Yeah. And do you remember that time when they were all being bandy and rehearsing and she didn't understand the jokes? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, she felt like an outsider, wasn't she?
Yeah, she'd take herself off to bed and not be part of the group.
And then he'd have to follow her, so then he'd be like, oh, sorry guys, I've got to go to bed because my girlfriend's gone to bed. Yeah, how long's that going to go on for? Do you know what I mean? It's not... there's signs, there's been signs for a while that these two aren't, you know, all as good as what we think they are. So I don't know whether this meeting the family was showing us that there's still cracks there that could be, you know, picked apart at any point. I don't know, maybe I'm seeing too much.
Well, if that does come to fruition, I've just been filled with dread.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Because I'm just thinking, I'm just feeling a bit like, is that the only thing we can do with couples?
Yeah,
just
pretty much. It's you get together, you have the hot sort of start of the relationship, then after a while it gets a bit missionary, and then you break up or you get married, and if you get married, eventually you break up.
You leave. If you have a baby, you leave. Yeah. I'm just like, I need to get off this merry-go-round with these couples, because like, I don't mind them coupling the youngsters up. It's a common thing to do. And I'm used to it over the years. But like, can we try something else? Do you know what I mean?
If you don't couple them up, then Facebook goes mental, because it's like, oh, there's too much bed hopping. Too much bed hopping.
True.
Which is not true.
You can never win, can you?
They don't actually bed hop. It's just a lot of couples that have normal, healthy sexual relationships, I think, is what we're supposed to take from it. So Justin and Leah Flick and Tane, Marley and Rose, we're supposed to believe it, but we don't believe it. These couples, they have scenes where they go off to the bedroom and we don't see anything. But people on Facebook say, "Oh, there's so much bed hopping," but they don't mean bed hopping. They mean there's so much sex in Home and Away. And I think it's not true. I don't think it's true that there's bed hopping or too much sex.
Think
or
there's probably a cross section of the audience that are over the age of seeing a steamy soap over lunchtime. And a bit too much flesh on the, over their tin of tomato soup or whatever.
I hope I never get as prudish as that, because I love all that.
Don't think there's any chance of that happening, don't worry.
Phew. Good.
A la Irene's back door joke.
It wasn't me, it was you this time. You mentioned it. Yes.
And it's just years later, it's not getting old. All is well anyway. They've responded well. They seem to like her and her murderous ways. So let's keep our ear to the ground here at Coastal News Towers and see what happens with
It might be useful to have a known murderer in the family anyway. It might be quite a useful skill to have in the future.
Money is power, and power is normally involved, isn't there? So let's see. I would love it if they stuck around a bit and were into something really shady. I'd quite like that.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
It's not just violins, and in the violin cases, there's a weapon in there as well.
Yeah. And they got their riches from like pirates or something. Yeah. Right, Dana, she sees Alf's article in the Coastal News. Klaxon. And she is inspired to give back to the community but go and volunteer. Yay. And Ivy's like, duh, you're a nurse. So she goes, oh yeah, I forgot that. Then it goes to get a job at the hospital. Gets the job at the hospital, but says, you know what? I'll do my bronze medallion as well. That's how random it was. So she's now...
I want to do my bronze medallion.
Oh no, have you seen it?
I want to hang out with John and have him shout at me for 2 days. That's what I want.
You would last 10 minutes in John's training class.
I'd love
especially when he's had his coffee cut off.
I just want to hang out with JP. I just want to. I'd bring him coffee. I'd bring him double shot, whatever he wanted. Yeah.
Riverside Harper. Yeah, because he's running this class that explains the students' comments on First Look last week.
Oh yes, we were confused. Yes,
his coffee card had expired that day, so he was refused coffee. Well, he wasn't refused coffee, but he'd have to pay $4.70 for it.
$4.70. How much is that in real money?
I asked, and I think it was Jamie on Twitter very kindly told me it was only £2.60 or something.
I don't drink coffee, but is that a reasonable?
Oh, that's quite good. A takeaway flat white is circa sort of $3.50, so that's pretty good.
Really? Gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's not too bad, but you wouldn't buy like multiple a day, would you? Because you're talking sort of a tenner a day there.
Yeah, that's a lot, isn't it?
When you could just make one yourself at home, John.
I was going to say, have you not got one of those? What are them Nespresso? My mum and dad have got one. Is it Nespresso machines? They've got one on the kitchen counter, and they're always making a noise. And I'm around there going. Anyway, so this story, blah blah blah, and I can just hear this. I'm like, for God's sake. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm very, very bitter about it. I'm like, God, just get a glass of water and be quiet.
Not quite as bitter as the coffee. I have I drink drip coffee, so I've got the whole percolator, which is much quieter. But obviously I have a pot of coffee in the morning then made, and it sort of keeps warm, and have a couple. I don't do the pods. I'm trying to be good for the environment.
Yeah, they do the noisy machine thing, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
But I mean, he could have that himself at home and save a fortune.
Because
He
I've
really
seen the adverts. I've seen George Clooney tell me that I can have, takeaway coffee at home by buying an espresso machine or whatever they are. I don't believe him, but other people seem to have them. Why doesn't John have one?
Well, he definitely regrets showing Irene that film.
Oh, that Maz, that film.
Sorry, Maz. Yeah, did I say Irene? I meant
Yeah.
Maz. 'Cause,
Can I ask a question? Because I haven't seen this film.
all right.
Is it Love
What?
Actually? Is it Love
Yeah,
Actually?
have you
Yeah.
Over.
I've never seen it. I don't do lovey-dovey films.
Sophie, you must know this scene. No,
I've seen parodies of it on
right.
TikTok and other social media platforms are available. I've seen
At home,
parodies of it, so I
yeah.
know I know what the premise of it
You got
is.
the reference, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, but I've not seen the film. Even though it's got one of my favourites, Liam Neeson, in it, I still can't bring myself to watch Love Actually because I think it'd
No.
make me I think I'd have a violent allergic reaction to that film.
I actually don't think I've seen it all the way through. Actually, thinking
Have
about
you
it.
not?
Uh,
My mum loves it. She's always like, "Oh, it's the best Christmas film." I'm like, "Die Hard is the best Christmas film, mother," and I will not hear another word.
We'll start that debate. Good lord.
John McClane in a vest. Thank you very much. I do not need lovey-dovey. Yeah.
Well, you're not the only one getting violent at the thought, because John, like you say, without this coffee, he's got these recruits doing the bronze medallion. In comes Banjo, come man bun.
You text
With
me
an
about
attitude.
this. I didn't watch it live, and you were like, "There's a character called Banjo," and I was like, "Is it a dog?"
My mind went
exciting.
completely different. I was corrected online. It's a very popular name actually in
Is it?
Australia. Yeah.
What? It's not a nickname.
Banjo. No, Banjo is a very popular name. It often is shortened to Joey.
But that's a real name.
Real name, Banjo. Real
No,
name.
but the real name is Joey and the nickname is Banjo, surely.
Oh, no, it's the other way. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
This is why Australia is at the bottom of the world, because it's all upside down stuff down there. It's all upside down. That's insane.
Anyway, Banjo has got an attitude. John's got an attitude back, and he lodges a complaint for microaggression.
What does that mean? Google it.
I don't know, but obviously it's the episode title.
Oh, is
if
it?
I can work out how to spell it.
I thought the episode title was going to be "I'll never run out of things to say to you."
Yeah, but it's not as catchy as microaggression, is it?
That's true. That's true. I was going to say to you, "I'll never run out of things to WhatsApp you."
Oh God, there. Well, that's just it. I'm sorry. Oh, another contender was Tidy House, Happy House.
True. I also agree. Tidy house, tidy brain, I think. Yes.
Yes. Well, he learns of this, John. He learns of this complaint. And he does call Banjo and apologise. Now, did you buy this phone call? I'm not sure. Banjo was on the other end of the line there. Sophie.
That was the speaking clock. The time sponsored by Accurist will be 20, 28, and 50 seconds. You know
that is the time now, ladies and gents. She's actually told you the time. Can have that one for free. Yeah, he's not on the line. He answered very quick. He's not there, is he? No. And Alf thinks he's apologised. So there's a bit of a Banjo drama coming.
Yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed if this guy turned up in another couple of episodes. He's quite interesting.
Guesty, old man bun.
Yeah, we like a guesty man bun, don't we?
Yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah. Right. Justin spots an internet search on the top about nightmares, and so her whole secret. What are you like?
Have you ever Googled nightmare?
I don't think I have. No, I don't think I have.
You might get the old 90s kids game show Nightmare. That was a brilliant show. Yeah, I've never Googled sleep paranoia or whatever. Was it sleep insomnia, paranoia, nightmare thing?
He starts to worry, doesn't he, Justin? Starts to worry. And he basically goes to the diner to speak to her, finds out she's been lying about going to work. She's not even been on shift for days. So, alarm.
That was a weird conversation, though, wasn't it? Did you not find that very? Because he went to the diner and said, "Oh, is Leah here?" And Marilyn said, "She's not been here for days." And I thought that was a really weird.
But you'd just say no, wouldn't you?
I know it's a plot point to get him to be caught up with what's happening, but it was just a really, you'd start with, "Oh no, she's not rostered on today." Oh, okay. Where is she then? Oh, I don't know, love. Not, she's not been here for days. It was just
dun, dun, dun.
It was really weird. It was really weird. Sorry, just me, maybe.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, she turns up like, "Hi, hiya," just
Hiya.
like walking into work and like,
busted.
Like, oh, Leah, oh, honestly. So he says, "Let's go for a walk," all very seriously, and promise me you'll tell me if you're up in the night. She says, "Oh, I can't remember now. I saw your internet search. You can talk to me." She just snaps, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Now they do sit down when they get home. She does open up, which I did like. I quite enjoyed the scenes of Leah opening up to Justin.
Yeah.
Especially as they're engaged to be wed. And she's I've been snapping at everybody. She got everyone's pay wrong as well, not to be sniffed at.
Oh, I know. Yes.
What stuff she's doing here. That'll be the lack of sleep. She's just being extra as well with everybody, isn't she? You know what I mean?
She's snapping at people. She snapped at Marilyn. She snapped at Irene about the pay and stuff. And Irene says something quite foreshadowing to Maz, I think, because she says something like, she made a mistake with the payroll, and I don't think she's quite, with it this week, and I think she's struggling. And Marilyn was like, "Oh, we should offer some help." And then Irene kind of scoffs and says, "Yeah, good luck at getting her to accept help, because Leah doesn't accept help." And I thought, is this a foreshadowing thing about her paranoia, her sleep, and everything else, about how she likes to struggle on her own and doesn't like to. She's very independent, isn't she? She doesn't like to be.
She's headstrong.
Yeah.
She won't easily sort of display weakness. She'll see it as sort of weakness, won't she?
Yeah.
By accepting help.
Yeah, definitely.
See that
it's not unreasonable, though, is it? I mean, she's been bloody kidnapped for the billionth time. It's not and she went back to work like almost immediately. She almost saw Justin die in front of her eyes, like twice, because he nearly died in the factory, then he nearly died in hospital. She actually gathered around his bed and said goodbye to him, and that was off the back of her being kidnapped and almost dying as well. It's not unusual to imagine that she would be going through some severe trauma right now, and yet everyone's treating her like she should go back to work. And Irene and Marilyn are just talking about the fact that they both need a holiday, and I'm like, guys, okay. Irene, I get it, because to be fair to Irene, she nearly went to prison last week for 7 years, which is a long time. So I can get why she thinks she needs a holiday. Marilyn is usually a bit more intuitive than this and a bit more sympathetic, and I don't understand why they don't really think that Leah would be struggling off the back of all the stuff. Maybe it's because she has been through so much in her life. They're just thinking, "Oh, what's another kidnap for Leah? She'll get over it in a week."
Trevor Duck's back.
Yeah, it's very weird, isn't it?
I don't think we could have had this story involving Leah without addressing what kind of repercussions, because it's getting a bit of a joke.
It's a joke. We mention it on the podcast, don't we? We literally say she's been kidnapped for the millionth time.
Yeah.
She's been impaled, and then she goes to Cyprus a week later.
Yeah, cherry on the cake this now. And of course, it's the end of that big cult arc. That culminating up to that. I do like the sort of production we've had as a result of her sort of downfall, if you like, the flashbacks.
Yes.
There's this scene, isn't there, where she's waiting outside work. Justin's going to take her home and is bringing the car up. and the headlights sort of transport her back to that car that went through her. Do you remember?
Yeah, ghost car. Yes.
Ghost car, yeah.
Yeah.
So I quite like all that because we don't see it on the English soaps, you know,
No.
or the British soaps. So
Although I think EastEnders is trying to get that way with Denise this week, but anyway, we'll move on.
I saw that, but it's not the same as Home.
It's not the same, but it was unusual for EastEnders, and I did sit up and go, what? She's going very Lady Macbeth, and it is a bit Home and Away, that sort of storyline.
Yeah, that stylistic choice to do that sort of blur in the lines. I mean, we've actually joked as well on our, you know, we do this, regular listeners will know we do that sort of verses with the neighborhood rewatch, and we sort of talk about Home and Away, and they talk about Neighbours, and when we've got a bit of a running joke on there now as well about how many ghosts we have, and you know, the sort of the end.
No
of
one's
life,
ever really dead. Yeah,
the end of life in the Bay never, it isn't very often the end, really.
No.
Not that this is the same situation, but that it leads to, it's the format, the formula of Home and Away leads very nicely for this stuff. It doesn't look or feel out of place, does it? And I quite enjoy it when we get it.
You wouldn't get this on Corrie, let's put it that way.
No, yeah, you're right. There's a very, and I think if they tried it, everyone would be up in arms.
It wouldn't fit with the soap. No.
And I think that's testament to Home and Away being one of those soaps that's constantly changed, and it's not stayed the same. And I know some people criticize for that, but I think the reason it doesn't feel odd to do stuff like that is because it's always changed and kept up.
We had Ghost Bobby Fridge drama.
This is what I mean. From the beginning, they were doing it.
Yeah.
So they get home eventually, and she says to him, you know, look, I've not been going to the cash and carry. I've been going to Reefton Lakes.
No shit.
I've been going to Reefton Lakes for pills. I know.
Reefton Lakes is where we're supposed to believe is all the swanky wine bars and swanky people. So she must be paying a fortune for those meds from the Reefton Lakes doctors.
There's money up in the lakes, isn't there? She's
not gone to Yabby Creek or Mangrove River. She's gone to Reefton Lakes.
Let me tell you though, if she'd have gone to Mangrove River, she wouldn't have had a problem getting anything.
I was going to say, she just has to take, like, you know, go up a back alley with her purse open, and she'll get some from Mangrove. But not like that.
That'll knock her out.
I've just heard that out loud, and I hear what you heard. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean. You know, Reefton Lakes, we're talking like private doctors, cash, ka-ching, writing a check, getting an extension on your credit card. Mangrove River, you're talking purse out up the alleyway, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Apologies. I actually didn't mean to bring the pod down at that point, but I did it.
You did it anyway. She would have she wouldn't have had trouble sleeping if she'd have gone to Mangrove River.
No.
And she says, look, every time I close my eyes, I'm back there. And Justin very supportively says, if you can't sleep, I'll stay awake. We'll get through this together.
I'll stay awake and bore you to sleep with my stories.
Which is literally what he did. She fell asleep listening to him waffle on.
I did actually love this though. I'm not a very lovey-dovey person, but this has made me go, oh, do you know what? That's quite sweet.
Yeah.
That's quite sweet.
Of the loved one. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, why did we have to do all that secrecy? Really?
Yes. I know. I think she tried to say that he's just come out of hospital and she didn't want to burden him. Obviously, he's been through all the trauma as well, so she's trying to give him some space to deal with it and also recover physically from what he's been through. I get it, but like we said last week, they're getting married. You know, there's got to be no secrets. Okay, it's that time again. It's time for Your Say on the Bay. Ready? You ready? Always ready. Always ready. I've been digging through social medias, reading comments, looking at reactions from people who have watched Home and Away in the UK this week. And I'm going to
always lurking, aren't you?
I'm always lurking. Lurky. That's what I do. But before we look at those, just a quick reminder, as we do every week, we are on social media. So although I'm looking on social media for your reactions, we are also on social medias and we put out our reactions and stuff as well. So look out for us. We're Coastal News Podcast at Coastal News Pod. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you go. We tweet along with the show, or we watch it at 6:30 p.m. Monday to Friday on 5-Star here in the UK. So get on that hashtag Home and Away. Come and join the discussion. Let us know your thoughts. And you might just end up on this segment next week. Who knows?
That's exciting.
Who knows? Lots of people do end up on this segment, and they do tweet about the fact that we've mentioned them, don't they? So which is
Do you know what
pretty
would
good.
be weird one week? Like we don't, obviously, because we're so involved in this podcast. Oh, we said we're going to do this quickly, and I've already started. So I'm so sorry. I'll be really quick.
It's fine.
You know, like if we very rarely make a comment about the show of our own accounts, if we then start quoting our own tweets, we're going to be in some sort of weird parallel universe.
I think that's Googling to Google, isn't it? I don't think that's... You'll break the internet if you do that. It's not
But
good.
we're mainly on the pod, so we haven't got time for my social media is completely dead now. I do this. Blimey.
I do on my own personal. Okay, we're totally tangenting before we're starting this, but on my own personal Twitter, which is Sophie Cheekbones, obviously Sophie Cheekbones, Sophie_Cheekbones. If anyone wants to follow me, I have no friends, so please feel free to follow. Please feel free. I have no friends.
I'm at S Butty.
I have no friends, so please find me. Sorry. I tweet on mine, not very often because obviously I'm at work, and I use Instagram most of the time anyway. But I tweet about EastEnders and Corrie and all the other soaps. Traitors Australia, I'm obsessed with this week. Been tweeting about that. But on Home and Away, I like to put it on the Coastal News one because we've got some friends on there, and I don't have any friends on my personal Twitter, unfortunately.
I'm logged into the podcast and I just neglect the rest. But there we go.
Yeah, same. It's all fine, but we are there. We're on Twitter. We're looking. We're watching. We want to talk to you. We want to hear about what you think about the show, good or bad, ugly or not ugly. We want to hear it. So jump on the hashtag. Tell us what you think, or on Facebook as well, because we've got a page on Facebook. Tell us what you think about the show.
Some of you have on there actually lately, haven't you? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate all your comments and everything else. So get in touch with us. You're not alone. We often agree with your comments as well. So I've been looking through social medias and I've got a few topics for us to talk about this week. So the first one, obviously, is going to be Flick and her outbursts, meltdowns, whatever you want to call them. There's a lot of strong opinions still, obviously, about what's happening with Flick and everything else that's going on with her this week. So I'm going to read you a few out. You haven't seen any of these, I don't think, Si. So
okay,
these will be new to you, I think. So over to Facebook. Marsha says the most self-absorbed character on the history of Home and Away goes to Drama Queen. If there's an award for the most self-absorbed character in the history of Home and Away, it goes to Drama Queen of all dramas, Felicity. Me all the time. Tani is 100% better off without her. She needs psychiatric help.
Oh grief.
Marsha's quite strong on her opinion of Flick here.
Isn't she just?
I can see it as well. You know, I can see both sides. You know, it depends how much you like us, how much you overanalyze what's going on the show. Yeah. And if you just take it at that level, then absolutely you can see it.
Yeah, and that
agree with that.
Have to be a category in this year's Coastal News Awards.
I think we do. I think we need most self-absorbed character on the history of Home and Away. Write it in the book. Yeah. It's going in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coastal News Awards 2024. Gosh. Tina says that Felicity, anything that starts with that Felicity is going to be hilarious. That Felicity isn't helping. She keeps nitpicking and blaming Mac and everyone else for her actions, all about me, myself, and I. She's a pain in the rear end, all on her for putting all the pressure on, blame on Mac. Hope she's satisfied with what she's done.
Oh my God.
No sympathy.
I know that it's so staunch, isn't it? The way some people have come down on this. It's so fascinating, though.
It is
Got into a
fascinating.
bit of a heated thing in the week. I mentioned it briefly on the main episode discussion, and I actually dubbed Tane Teflon Tane. I was like, because
Yeah.
literally he's getting off this in some people's view, absolutely faultless. And I
Yes.
don't understand how people can't see that element of it. I just don't.
Not everybody. I'll read you some Tane reactions
Okay.
in a moment, but these are some of the strong
It's
Flick.
Teflon Tane to you.
Yeah, Flick opinions. Amy says, about time Felicity takes responsibility for her actions and the damage that she's caused instead of blaming everybody else.
We should just do that, to be fair.
Yeah. Karen on Facebook, which sounds like a joke, but not a joke.
Get the manager.
I'm sorry, Karen. I feel so sorry for Karen's. Karen says, God, someone get rid of Flick about me. Jesus, in real life, hun, you would have no mates. Yeah. She does a good job of pushing people away.
Yeah, that is true. You wouldn't have outdo with it, would you really?
No, I think Mac's done really well to get to the point where she's dealt with Felicity with kindness and compassion up to the point where she's had a heart attack, and now she's had a heart attack. She's finally got the balls to say, "Do you know what? I'm done with you. Get out."
Yeah.
Not many people would get that far without telling to get out. I'll be honest.
True.
I wouldn't. I don't have the patience. I'd have been like, weeks ago, I'd have been like, bugger off, like, leave me alone. So yeah, I think you're right. On face value, because she hasn't told people, the whole story, you have to take it. All we know is that she's lied to Tane. So you would take this stance, wouldn't you? I think it's quite obvious.
Yeah.
Baz on Twitter says Flick has lost the plot. It's quite unsettling, but superb acting. I think it's important to acknowledge that. I think as much as we all, want to dump on Flick and say that she's annoying and she's self-absorbed and, she needs to grow up and stuff. This is the script that Jackie's been given, and Jackie is, you can't fault her interpretation of this. And
the performance is gripping. The pair of them, really. And because they've got such strong chemistry, it's why we've all got an opinion.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
They've really done this justice.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Just Jen on Twitter says it feels like something that people should be sympathetic to both characters about. So this means Flick and Tane, but everyone seems to think it's all Flick's fault, which is really quite sad. And apparently this happens in real life a lot as well.
Yeah.
So this is like the other side of the fence. So seeing it from her point of view and how actually they've both done things that are wrong and they've both made mistakes, and maybe we should be looking at both sides of the fence.
I think I'm on the fence there with Just Jen as well.
Yeah,
I had to do that, like Will and Grace. Just Jack.
Just Jack. Yeah, just Jack. Are you doing the hands?
Jazz hands.
Are you doing the hand?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. You can't. Just Jen. I think that's sort of where I'm at with it. And I think I'm probably, so it's hard to be objective sometimes because I'm in this position where I'm on a podcast, so perhaps maybe I'm trying to be more balanced than I might have been if I didn't do this. Who knows? I can't answer that question, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
wise.
I think we overanalyze everything, and because we overanalyze everything, we then do see both sides more easily, I think.
Yeah.
That's Flick anyway. Flick and her outbursts. So Mac collapsing. So Facebook UK home and away page put the clip of Mac collapsing in salt, and there was obviously lots of reactions to this scene and this clip on Facebook. So everyone, I'd sum it up as saying everyone's worried for Mac and everybody adores Emily. So lots of the reactions were, poor Mac, I hope she's not leaving. I hope Emily's not leaving. She's one of my favourite characters. She's a great actress. So I think it's really important to mention all of those comments. There were lots of similar comments along that kind of line. Something that we talk about on the pod a lot, how much we love Emily, and we think that she's a critical part of the show. Really good actress, brings Mac to life. She's got loads of dimensions, Mac, hasn't she, as a character, and it's because of Emily and because of how she brings that character to life. So it's really nice to see that mentioned on Facebook. So Maureen on Facebook said, love Mackenzie, what a great actress. Maggie says, it was so sad to see Mac like that. I know it's only a soap, but dear God, I hope she's not going to leave because she's amazing. Lots of comments like this. Elaine said, I hope Mackenzie isn't leaving home and away. I haven't heard any rumours. I really like her character. And Lorraine says, oh dear, poor Mac, please don't leave Summer Bay. Emily, it wouldn't be the same without you. Flick's causing a load of stress to people at the moment. I think it's high time she took a break from Summer Bay. So there's lots of strong opinions on Mac, but all positive. I've not seen anything negative about this storyline at all in terms of Mac. Seb,
which is a contrast. Sorry, very briefly, because last week there was a few like, why is Mac sticking her ear in?
I think that is a valid point, though, isn't it? So it's not saying that Emily's not doing the character justice. It's not saying they don't like Mac. I think they were just sort of saying, Mac, keep your nose out of it. It's none of your business.
Yeah.
But now it is her business because she's got Tani living in her house. She's made it her business, hasn't she? So
that's true. And now she's had cardiac arrest as a result.
Yeah, she's in peril now. So everyone's like, oh no.
Yeah.
No, don't let her die. So
we're a fickle bunch, aren't we?
We are.
Viewer.
I think Mac is a loved character, and Emily, Emily is Mac. I can't imagine anybody else playing Mac now. She's she's outstanding. So it's nice to see people acknowledging that on all this Twitter, Facebook, everywhere is saying this.
Yeah.
And the last point I've got about Mackenzie is Sev on Twitter says, poor Mac, a lesson never to go into business with an unhinged psycho friend. You try not to, but then I guess you don't know until someone snaps that they're an unhinged psycho sometimes.
Well, would you be friends with an unhinged psycho, first of all?
But most of the time they're quite clever, aren't they? And they kind of, we've learned this lesson from the Traitors, watching the Traitors UK, Australia, US.
Try it out.
Trader? Are you a trader? Someone appears normal to start with, and then you realise that they're a psycho unhinged weirdo. You know what I mean? So,
are you a trader? Yes.
Are you a trader? Yes. Who are the traders? My anxiety levels are like a frog in a sock.
Stocks and shares. Yeah.
It's all about that. So you don't always see it at first glance. You don't always see the bad side of people. You take people on face value, and you like to think that everyone's you give people a chance, don't you? And then they become the psycho unhinged business partner that you didn't realize you were getting into bed with.
Stab you in the back.
Yeah, it's not good. Okay, what about mixed reactions here? Tane shagging about.
Oh,
there's no other way to say it. I'm sorry, shagging about is the only way I can describe it. So lots of mixed reactions. So I might as well just rip the plaster off. So some people like Jeff on Facebook are saying, go on, Tane lad, this is the best thing you've done for years.
A bloke. Yeah, you found the bloke on Twitter, on Facebook. Yeah.
Jeff,
loves it.
Yeah. not just Jeff though. Not just Jeff. Maggie on Facebook, best way to get over someone is to get under someone else, as the saying goes.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're taking advice from Dua Lipa.
No, don't do that. That's not a good thing. No, don't take advice from a pop artist.
If you're under him, you ain't getting over him.
Yeah. I got no rules. I got him. I don't know.
Oh dear. Cut.
2. Yeah. It's like 1.
Someone's under and someone's over somebody.
It's like, don't come round here because I'm gonna sleep with you, and I'm not gonna
get the phone.
Oh yeah. Don't pick up the phone. Yeah. Don't let him in. You'll have to kick him out again. 3. Don't be something. I can't remember the words. Yeah. Don't let him in. Don't answer the call. Don't let him fuck you.
You'll only after something in the morning.
You'll wake up in his bed in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're under him, you ain't getting over him.
Yes, that's it. Don't answer his phone call. Don't let him into your flat. Don't let him underneath you because you're not going to get over him. Basically.
There you go. Watch out, Dua Lipa will come in.
Life lesson. I can't remember the words. Don't let him in. Anyway, don't let him in. So yeah, there's some people that are on Tani's side. So Zoe also says, controversially, happiest I've seen him all year. He actually smiled. Zoe got 3 likes for that comment, but then Francis came for Zoe and said, "But is he happy?
Is he heck?
Is he happy? Question mark."
He'll be. Well, he's not quite unhappy where he's getting a ride share with Leah to Reefton Lakes for a blue pill. He's not that sad.
he's doing all right without the pills, I think. Yeah. Leslie says, "Oh, he's just on the rebound. He loves Flick." Yeah.
A rebound.
I don't know.
Like you say, is it a self-sabotage situation? Is he trying to hurt her more?
Yeah, I think it's tit for tat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Margaret's got strong opinions. Margaret says, "That's not moving on. That's the typical reaction of a male showing his masculinity in the only way that he knows how, winky face, other than pounding his chest with his fists and shouting, 'Oh, wah, 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 wah!'"
Oh, do you know, it's the way you tell him, Sophie. You know.
I have to infer the the tone of the comments, because you can't tell from a comment, can you? You can read it anyway, but I think that's what Margaret was trying to infer. But then Margaret and Michelle and Francis actually as well got into a bit of an interesting conversation on Facebook. So
we've all been there this week, so go for it.
So Margaret was saying, this is a typical male reaction, masculinity, etc., pounding his fist on his chest. Michelle said, "LOL, imagine if Felicity did the same thing. We'd be calling her all sorts." And then Francis said, "Exactly. Women who sleep around get called bikes," which is not the politest of names. It's really not. Men do it and they get a slap on the back and told, "You go for it, lad." Looking at you, Jeff.
Jeff,
Said,
yeah.
"Go on, Tane."
Did Margaret say Jeff, or have you put that in?
No, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm calling Jeff out.
Told you.
Yeah. And then Michelle.
That is so true. An attitude toward a woman with sexual partners and a man with sexual partners are entirely different.
Entirely different, yeah. Michelle went back and said, "Agreed. Plus, Felicity lied, which isn't good. But she did it to keep Tani from leaving her. That's awful to have to think that the way that, she just wanted to say this so that he would stay with her. He should just love her with or without kids. And then 2 seconds later, he just beds another woman." Yeah. They've got a point, haven't they?
Well, yeah.
It's difficult to sympathize with him wanting a stable family. I want a wife. I want children. I want stability. I want one person for the rest of my life. I want to bring up kids with that person. Okay, I can't have that. Okay, well, I'll just bed everybody in the town. It's difficult to kind of, get your head around what it is that Tani actually wants here.
Yeah, because I'm a bit like, cut all the noise away. Is he trying to get a child?
Oh, God.
I know that's
scattergun approach. That's not fun.
One of them will work.
One of them will get pregnant. Yeah, but they might not keep it, Tani. Women have options. Your body, your choice, etc.
Oh, we're being flippant. He's obviously not thinking like that. Well, hope not.
Hope not. Yeah.
Or what is that? Is that is a risk of his behaviour, and then
it is. Yeah.
Is bringing a child up from a one-night stand, no relationship with the mother, never sees the father. Is that worse than not having a child?
Yeah, because he wants the family unit, doesn't he? We're supposed to believe this is the Maori unit, family unit. Family's everything. I want my wife. I want my kids. I want my family unit. I want everything. You're not going to have that with some woman from the bar that you shagged. You're not going to have it.
No.
Unless you're very, very lucky, and you and the woman from the bar are soulmates who are destined to be together. You know, unlikely. Especially on the soap. Let's be honest. Unlikely. Yeah, we'll see. And then for the last comments on the Tane section of today, we've got David, Mr. David on Twitter, who says, and I think I'm in agreement with David. Tane is hugely popular, so I'm not sure whether this has made viewers more sympathetic towards him rather than Flick. Both are as bad as each other in this storyline, and maybe Rue should give them some counselling.
Teflon Tane.
David goes on to say, I get it. Tane's hurt, but if Flick is the love of his life, does he value her so little that he betrays her so callously? Again, none of them are without blame, but Tane shagging around with someone else is just betrayal. Stop being a tool, Tane.
Yeah,
can't put it better myself. Couldn't put it better.
Round of applause. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nicely summarised, David.
Handily summarised for us. Thank you, David. And then, so that we don't end Your Say on the Bay on all doom and gloom, I've chosen to read some John-related comments.
Okay. Yeah.
So, John is just, we just love him. So everyone on social media this week is in agreement that John is hilarious. These scenes about John having to put his hand in his pocket to pay for a coffee again, just so funny. Delivered brilliantly. The scene with Shane and Emily has been delivered so well. With the spoof of Love Actually, lots of praise for Shane on every social media platform I've come across. Everybody just loves JP, which obviously we love. We're big fans.
Can you ever imagine JP being this loved like 15 years ago? Honest to God.
No, he's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
I've never not liked him. I don't think I've ever been in I don't like John Palmer camp. I've always liked him, but I absolutely love him now.
Same.
Like love. Can't imagine the Bay without him. And Shane. I just love Shane. Oh yeah. I just want to squeeze him. Just Jen says, funniest bit on Home and Away for months. God love JP. David says, a cheapskate like John would be carrying a thermos around, not shelling out $5 for a coffee. I agree with you, David.
He's been a bit liberal with his wallet last sort of 12 months, though, to be fair.
Yeah, with other people, but would he pay $14 a day for a coffee?
True.
I'm not sure. Shaz on Facebook says, why is everyone saying poor John the little Scrooge? LOL. Won't even buy a coffee and getting withdrawal symptoms. Do they not have a coffee machine at home on Home and Away? It's so funny.
And we're full circle to your mum's.
Oh, so annoying. So loud. Everyone's talking about John and the fact that he's a bit of a cheapskate, to be honest. So Jeanette says, poor John, he doesn't like parting with his money.
Yeah.
Leslie says, cough up, Palmer. And then to end this week's Your Say on the Bay, Gina on Facebook said, John's as tight as a duck's bum, and that's watertight.
It's not Ghost Gina, is it?
I don't think so. I hope not.
She should know.
She should know, yeah. Oh, that was funny. I love it.
Hold me in your arms, don't let me go. I want to stay forever closer.